You're watching the Cronkite Commentaries on Retirement Living TV.
This is Walter Cronkite. If nothing else of value comes out of the war in Iraq, it seems to me we will at least have learned some things from it. For instance, policymakers now should know not to invade a country without first learning something about its history and its people. Today, surely, they know to plan for the aftermath of any military action they undertake. Bush's father, President George H.W. Bush, launched the first Gulf War in 1990. He did so with the endorsement of the United Nations, but this invasion of Iraq was not approved by the UN. What made the difference? In the first war, we had a clear-cut case. Iraq had invaded Kuwait, and we were able to lead a UN force to right that wrong. We were the good guys then. In the current war, our case was not at all clear to others. We had no UN sanction, and we began to look like the bully on the block. There's another lesson we should take from this terrible misadventure. Before the invasion, Colin Powell tried to explain something very basic to George Bush. Powell quoted what he said was the Pottery Barn rule. If you break it, you've bought it. If you destroy a government and social order, you are obligated to replace them. You own that government's responsibilities. I should say, we own them, for it wasn't just George Bush, Dick Cheney, and Donald Rumsfeld who broke Iraq. It was the United States. The entire nation volunteered for this war. In October of 2002, the two houses of Congress passed a joint resolution to authorize the use of force against Iraq. It passed with a large majority. Most members of Congress and the American public were convinced that if we failed to act, there was danger of a nuclear attack. In the future, we should be more wary of false alarms. Now we are stuck there. We're not sure just how or when we can leave honorably. How can we pull out of Iraq without civil war exploding in a bloodbath? The leading Democratic presidential candidates now say we should not be as thoughtless getting out as we were getting in. And Bush has said he expects some American troops to be in Iraq for years. Maybe that's our penance for letting George Bush and Dick Cheney stampede us into war. Maybe that's our punishment for not asking the hard questions early enough. I guess the ultimate lesson is that being a democracy, we, the people, are responsible for the actions of our leaders. Bush's aggressive talk about Iran and its nuclear ambitions is a case in point. Now we learn that the Iranians stopped developing nuclear weapons in 2003. We now are in the midst of the primary campaigns for next year's presidential election. Perhaps we will pay closer attention to what the candidates have to say about America's role in the world. So what kind of person, with what kind of attitude and ideas, do you think should be making decisions about that? Surely the most important lesson Iraq teaches us is to be very careful how we answer that question next November. For Retirement Living TV, this is Walter Cronkite.